नमस्कार, आभार, अभिनंदन, तमन्ना, ज्योत्सना, राधिका, स्मरणिका, नौशीन. How are we? I am cool, bindas. When I am with you people, most happiest person on the earth. Jyotsna, I am fine. How about you people? Okay. So today we are starting a new journey. Namaskar, Hansraj ji. Plant anatomy. So talking about the tissues. Good evening, Kirtana. And what all we have done morphology of flowering plant from root, stem, leaf, inflorescence, flowers, and floral formulas, families, all that. So coming to the second part of it, what we are going to do today is tissues. Believe me, I'm talking about only tissues, not tissue system. Tissues, meristematic, permanent, and complex. I'll be focusing on all these three only. Right? Before that, the question that most of you made it wrong. The floral formula, actinomorphic, bisexual, pentamerous calyx, pentamerous corolla, androecium pentamerous, and androecium is epipetalous, bicarpellary, syncarpous, superior ovary. That is the formula for Solanaceae. I don't know. Most of you have marked option B. Option B is Leguminosae. Last class I told you. When you talk about Leguminosae, you should be very clear about it. Here, gynoecium will be 2 plus 2. Gynoecium will be 1 plus 2 plus 2. That is the best way to understand it. Anyway, answer is option C because tobacco belongs to Solanaceae. It has shining ovules. Right? So, this is about the past. So, today we are starting with something that is, sir, what are tissues? Group of cells closely associated perform the related function, similar in structure and similar in origin. So, if it is structure and function, both are same, and from the group of same type of cells make something called as tissues. So if you see a cross section of an stem, you will see epidermis, it's outermost. Below epidermis, you will always find hypodermis. Hypodermis is the outermost layer of ground tissue, and the innermost layer of the ground tissue is endodermis. Whereas innermost layer of ground tissue is endodermis. Endodermis is the outermost layer of steel. Endodermis is the outermost layer of steel, and steel is anything, everything from xylem, phloem, this all is steel. Right? The core region is called as pith. May be present, may not be present. So as I said, plant structures are composed of four main tissues. They are epidermis, as the name says. Epi means outermost. Nikita, good evening. Outer layer of cells which protect the plant from water loss, from fungi and bacteria. Even it prevents it from any of the abnormalities or the protection, technically, any of the microbial attacks also. Below epidermis is a vascular tissue. More than vascular tissue, vascular tissue actually is a part of a ground tissue, transport water, sugars and other materials, because vascular tissues are only two, X and P. X is xylem, and xylem means gel. Gel means water. P is for phloem. P is for phull. Pha means food. So transportation of food is done by phloem. Ground tissue, tissues that the vascular tissues are embedded in, usually storage cells. For example, cortex. Meristematic, as the name itself says, meristematic means cells that divide. So sir, in general, whenever any tissue is there, if it is meristematic means it is responsible for growth. Any tissue when it is written epidermal means it is for protection. When it is at parenchymatous, it's storage, general. Sclerenchymatous are dead, strengthen and support. Vascular means transportation, as I said, xylem, water and nutrients. Phloem is food, plant products in the solution. So this entire concept of plant tissues, when we talk about, we always talk about a scientist called as Nageli. Do remember, we talk about a person called as Great. So when we talk about plant tissues, they are classified as growing or meristematic tissues, which have a capacity, just now you wrote, divide and redivide. Permanent tissues, which have stopped division, जिनमें division रुक गई है. Remember, जिनमें division रुक गई है, differentiation नहीं रुका है. They can proliferate further. So if you see the permanent tissues, they have attained almost maturity. Whereas meristematic, they divide, whether it is a shoot apex or a root apex. The growth of plant occur in certain specific regions. This is because the dividing cells known as meristematic tissues. It may be either shoot apex or it may be root apex, composed of actively dividing cells responsible for production of cells. Capacity for division is restricted to certain parts of the plant body, that is called as meristems. Meristems are the region in which meristematic activity. Okay, Kirtana, I think I have not spoken Hindi, if I am not wrong. If somewhere I have spoken, I will take care. No problem, Kirtana. Right? Capacity of division is restricted to certain part of the plant body. The region in which division prevails is called as meristem. And what they do, that is, permanent tissues are the tissues which have reached to the level of maturity. Means they have stopped the division, but still they have a capacity of differentiation, de-differentiation and redifferentiation. They can be further proliferated. Got it, Kirtana? They have stopped division. They will not multiply, but they can differentiate into whatever specific tissue they want, and which are active throughout the life of a plant body, that is meristematic. Usually apical cells, they are highly meristematic. So if you see a shoot apex, the apical meristem, that is the topmost area. From the shoot, if you see, it comes like this. So this is the shoot apex, this is the leaf apex. And at the leaf apex, where the entire business starts, is the primordia, leaf primordia. And further, if you see, the primitive type of cambium is procambium, which will give rise to a tissue which will have a capacity of dividing and redividing, which is responsible for the growth in the girth, that is cambium. Then is a protoderm, which will give rise to epidermis. So these are the vascular tissues. Pith is in the center. Then is the cortex, epidermis. Then further division. This is a proliferative phase, beginning. This is almost, it is not like animal cells, Hansraj. They can differentiate till they want. You might have seen the skin in case of humans. Bark you can see in a plant's bark. They keep undergoing differentiation. When I'll tell you secondary growth, I'll tell you about it, that in detail. Epidermis is outermost because it's vascular tissue, so xylem and phloem. Center is the pith, procambium which will divide, and this is cortex. If you see the root, on the root you can see numbers are being mentioned. If you make it very clearly, this is first, which will give rise to root cap. Good evening, Shubham. No problem. This will give rise to root cap. Next to it is, this is the root cap. You can see this is structure. This is structure. Second is protoderm. Then comes ground meristem. Central region is procambium. And outermost is root cap. This is the root cap initial that will give rise to root cap. And this is the protoderm that will create the epidermis and all. Right? So first talking about meristematic cells. There are three different type of meristems. One is called as apical meristem, another is called as lateral meristem, one is called as intercalary meristem. Here it is, I will make it to understand very easily. Apical means apex. Apex means primary growth. So they are found on shoot or root, that is stem apex or root apex. Lateral meristem, as the name says lateral, all the cambium, whether it is a cork cambium, whether it is a vascular cambium, whether it is a fascicular cambium. I'll come back to all these terms later on. Wherever cambium is there, all of them are lateral meristem, found along the side of root and stem, increases the width, diameter or the girth. You might have seen a twig of a neem plant is very thin like this, but the entire tree, its stem enhances. Sir, why it enhances? Because of lateral meristem. It divides laterally, and as it divides laterally, it is lateral meristem. Intercalary, it's a very common, see, intercalary, it is calated, means fixed. It is found in between the permanent tissues. And when I say it is found in between the permanent tissues, it is found at the base of young leaves and internodes, responsible for further lengthening of stem and leaves. If you might see in monocots and all, you might see in mint and all, pudina, intercalary meristem. Reach to some height, again mint proliferates. So you might have seen the twig of mint, lamina, pistia, they proliferate. That proliferation is happening because of intercalary meristem. Tissues that have attained the mature form and perform specific function and they stop dividing, they are called as permanent tissues. As I said earlier, they have stopped dividing and they have attained maturity because they perform a specific function. They may be simple permanent tissues or complex permanent tissues. If you can educate me, I'll be happy, Radhika. Sir, which is that tree which has no woods? Anything which does not have a secondary xylem can be. Grass is not a tree, Jyotsna. So, for permanent tissues, parenchymatous, thin-walled, alive at maturity, often multifaceted. They perform multiple functions. For example, if parenchyma stores air, means if any plant which is floating If a plant which is floating means it has air into it, that is called as parenchyma. Parenchyma is a air containing parenchyma. If parenchyma is responsible for photosynthesis, it is called as chlorenchyma. And you might have seen two different type of parenchyma are found in case of leaves, palisade cells and spongy cells, spongy parenchyma and palisade parenchyma. Radhika, I need an answer. I like the question very much. I just want to know the answer. If you know it, I'll be most happiest person if you can tell me. Collenchyma, thick-walled, alive at maturity. Do remember here I'll tell you one question which is very important. In general, whenever we write this word, a tissue responsible for mechanical support, all of us say sclerenchyma by default, or sclerites, or stone cells. All are same thing. Sclerenchyma are of two types. They are sclerites or stone cells. Very general we write. And when we say mechanical support means these are the dead tissues. So usually when we say dead tissues are responsible for mechanical support and we answer it is as sclerenchyma. But if a question is asked which of the tissue is a living mechanical tissue, please blindfold answer is collenchyma. Collenchyma is a living mechanical tissue. A mechanical tissue which is living in nature, that is collenchyma. Right? Sclerenchyma, thick-walled, dead at maturity. Otherwise, chlorenchyma, sclerenchyma has no difference. Only difference lies is collenchyma is alive, this is dead. Rest everything is same. Good, Radhika. Good, very good. That is called a pseudostem. Radhika, banana has a pseudostem because you will see a layers or the sheath of leaves around itself. So it is a pseudostem. Pseudostem. So I think what you're telling is correct. Because your question was which is the tree which has no woods? Papaya has a wood, Radhika. Papaya has a wood. Okay. Sclerites or stone cells, cell as long as they are wide. Fibers, cell longer than they are wide. You might have seen coconut, the husk of a coconut, that is coconut fibers. Sir, stone cells, variously they are been. If they are star shaped, they are called as asterosclerites. If they are abnormal shape, they are called as brachyschlerites. Sir, if they are bone shape, they are called as osteosclerites. But best example I'll tell you where you can see or witness stone cells is guava, amrud. When you eat guava, you get a grittiness. Some stony component when you eat the seed of it. That stony component grittiness you might see in chiku also. Acrus sapota in chiku. There also you might see that grittiness or the stony nature is because of sclerites. Epidermis, alive at maturity. Trichomes are the thread-like structures or the hair-like structures. Root hairs, extension of epidermal cells. Root hairs arise from specific cells of epidermis called as epiblema. Epiblema are the cells. So suppose this is the epidermis. This is called as epiblema. So epiblema is trees, herb and shrubs. So simple permanent tissues consist only of one kind of cells. Dermal or the surface tissues, external tissues form protective covering of the plant body. So if you see a 3D structure of brachy means abnormal shape, big, large, stony like sometimes you can witness in case of pineapple, Hansraj, cuticle, upper epidermis, palisade mesophyll cells, bundle sheath cells, xylem, phloem, lower epidermis, spongy mesophyll. I told you in case of leaf, best example. You can see this detailed structure. The upper layer, like a waxy layer, is cuticle, which prevents transpiration. Below is epidermis. Below is palisade, which is somewhat photosynthetic in nature. Then bundle sheath cells. Then comes vasculature. Then comes lower epidermis. Right? Along with the lower epidermis, you will find mesophyll cells. The outermost layer of primary plant body covers the leaf, floral part, fruit, seeds, stem, roots. Generally only one layer thick with cuticle. Very important. Composed mostly of unspecialized cells, either parenchyma or sclerenchyma. Contains thread-like structure called as trichomes, stomata, bulliform cells, characteristic feature of almost all the grasses. That's the reason whenever you try to pull a grass, you will see sometimes cut happens in your hand. And that cut happens because of bulliform cells. That is in case of grasses. Right? So, other than trichome or the thread-like structures, it also contains a nose. The nose of a plant is called as a stomata. Pores for gas exchange present in one or both the surface of the leaves. And when I will do physiology in detail, we will discuss with you this. So it has epidermal cells. This green color structure is called as guard cells, which is nucleated. And it looks like a stoma is an opening of a stomata. Here if you see, this is the bark. And when you see the bark, this is the periderm, outermost layer. This all is bark. Periderm is the bark, is the outermost layer of the stem and root of woody plants such as almost all the trees. Bulliform cells are parenchymatous in nature, Jyotsna. They are parenchymatous in nature. As I said, almost are general purpose cells of the plant, rounded in shape, have uniform thickness, wall found in all part of the plants, living at maturity, have large vacuoles. Everywhere they are found, leaf, stem, root, fruits, anywhere. As I said, wherever you put them, they do that business. Respiration, parenchyma. Photosynthesis, chlorenchyma. Protein synthesis. Storage, potatoes, fruit, seeds, whatever tissues that you eat, all of them are parenchyma. Wound healing and regeneration, that is parenchyma. So they are multifaceted. When you write a word totipotent, for division and redivision, here we write with respect to regeneration, all those components. In parenchyma, photosynthetic one are called as chlorenchyma. A specialized parenchyma used in green parts of the shoots and perform photosynthesis. Story over. So they are support and elasticity. Stem surface, nothing big deal. Sclerenchyma, as the name itself says, scleren means dead, non-living. I don't know why we write the word dead. Actually, truly it is non-living only. Sir, what is the difference? Dead means which had life once upon a time. Non-living No life ever. No life ever. That is non-living. Stone is non-living. We will become dead. We are living. This is non-living. Sclerenchyma is also non-living. Lacks protoplast at maturity. Have thick lignified secondary wall. Best example, if you might have seen coconuts. The husk of a coconut, before donating to the temple, you take it out, the brown color husk. It is wrongly written. It is regeneration actually, Radhika. It is not C generation. While I was typing, it happened. It is regeneration, it's not C generation. Sorry. So provide strength and support in parts and have ceased elongation at maturity. As I told you, there are two types, stone cells and fibers. So you can see stone cells and fibers. They are fibrous in nature. These are the sclerites, which are, this is star shape as I told you that time. They are astrosclerites. They are star shape, you can see. These are complex tissues, xylem and phloem. Both of them are vascular tissues. Water conducting tissue, parenchyma, fibers, vessels, and tracheids and ray cells. Do remember, xylem has 4 components. Xylem parenchyma, xylem fibers, tracheids, and vessels. Same way, phloem also has 4 things. Phloem fiber, phloem parenchyma, sieve tubes, and companion cell. In this case, xylem fiber, xylem parenchyma, tracheids and vessels, 4 are there. Here it is phloem fiber, phloem parenchyma, sieve tubes, companion cells. Here 1 is living. Here 3 are living. As I said, xylem is for water, gel. Phloem is for food. Sieve tube members, no nucleus at maturity. Sieve tubes have no nucleus. Cytoplasm present. Companion cells, fibers, parenchyma and ray cells. In flowering plants, sieve tube members and companion cells arise from a same mother cell. This question has asked in assertion and reason in Ames. In flowering plants, sieve tube members and companion cells. That's the reason if you might have seen. This is sieve tube. This is companion cells. Periderm, protective covering composed of cork and parenchyma. I'll come back to it, tell you. Secretory structures responsible for making latex, resin, nectars. These are exudates which are being released. Right? All of you are getting it, whatever I am telling you. Yes or no? Because you will become blank. And that makes me tensed, whether you are really understanding something or just I am hitting in the air. Because if people don't respond, I feel very uneasy. People are getting it, right? So continuing the same way, special lies for long distance transport of water and dissolved substances. Contains transfer cells, fiber in addition to parenchyma and conducting cells. Locations are in the veins, in the leaves, xylem and phloem. Xylem, it's a Greek word xylos, which means wood. Transports water and dissolved nutrients from the root to all the parts of the plants. Direction of transport is unidirectional. Do remember, transport of water is always unidirectional, not like phloem. Primary xylem differentiates from procambium. So whatever division you see today, the broad or elongated tissues of neem leaves or mango, they have started from primary xylem. That is called as procambium in the apical meristem, occurs throughout the primary plant body. Secondary xylem differentiates from the vascular cambium and is commonly called wood. So simple, wood is secondary xylem only. So when I told you xylem element, there are two kinds of xylem elements, tracheids and vessels, the only water conducting cells. Very important. Again, this was the question that was asked in JIPMER. Ki among the xylem element, no doubt all four are responsible. I told you tracheids, vessels, xylem fiber and xylem parenchyma. But which is a part of a xylem which is exclusively dedicated for water transport? Answer is tracheids. In most woody and non-vessel, occur in several group of plants including angiosperms. Both are elongated, dead at maturity, lignified secondary cell wall. Because they are dead and lignified, do remember, they are able to conduct water. You can see the shapes. This is like a tube, like connectivity, one above the other, pipe-like structure. Greek word phloem, that was about xylem. If you see phloem, I told you just now. This is the sieve tube. Attached to it is this is companion cell and is a weave-like structure which is called as sieve plate. Means bark. So technically phloem only makes the bark. I am not saying key answer whenever bark comes. No, anything outside the secondary phloem is called as bark. Do remember. Okay, I'll come back to it. Transport dissolved organic food material from the leaves to the different part of the plant. Glucose in phloem moves in all directions. So if you might have seen just now, I told you movement of water is unidirectional. Here it is. Food is multidirectional. This is a major difference between xylem and phloem transport. Primary phloem differentiates from procambium, extends throughout the primary body of the plant. Differentiates from vascular cambium, constitutes the inner layer of the bark. Sieve tubes, main conducting cell of the phloem. Their tracheid was the main conducting cell. Uniform thin walled with end wall perforated to form the sieve plate, perforated to form sieve plates. Please do remember, sieve tubes are non-nucleated. You might see here in the diagram the structure, which is this, has no nucleus. Shubham, I will tell you, they are resin glands which store resin, like hing, asafoetida. They are present in the glands that is called as resin glands in ferula in the roots. Coming to the contest question, what most of you have tried to answer yesterday, but we have only one winner. Question was, in which stage of sewage treatment activated sludge is formed during the secondary sewage treatment? And the winner is Jyotsna. And hearty congratulations, Jyotsna. You get one atom session dedicated to you. May God bless you. And hearty congratulations. Right? Coming to the contest question. Tamanna, I don't know it is tough or easy, but it's a contest question. For this, I'll give you 1 minute and I need the detailed answer. Question is, non-living part of xylem is? Non-living part of xylem is? Oh, good. Good evening, Divyansh. Oh, you are also there. Because I don't know how many people are witnessing it. I don't get that. So they all are trump cards for me. I need maximum answers. Noshin, don't give me all, none, some of them, few of them. I need answers. I need answers. Answers. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, going back, sir, how these tissues have come. So, whenever we say shoot apex or the root apex, do remember there are three theories which are very commonly present. One is called as apical cell theory. Another is called as histogen theory. Another is called as tunica corpus theory. Apical cell theory means this is the structure. At the time the apical cell, one of the cell divides and redivides, continuously divides. Same thing is applicable in root. So they might give rise to different type of layers. Either they divide anticlinally or periclinally. Anticlinally and periclinally. Sir, what is anticlinal? Suppose this is a cell. If they divide like this is called as periclinal. If any cell divides like this, if a peripheral increase happens, that is called as periclinal. If girth increases, that is called as anticlinal. In periclinal, periphery, PERI. Right? So, apical cells, they are the apical cells which give rise to different type of tissues. This concept of apical cell theory was given by Nageli. Histogen theory was given by a gentleman called as Henstein. Henstein was the person who said there are three different type of layers are formed: peribulum, plerome and dermatogen. Peribulum is outermost, plerome is middle, dermatogen is innermost. This is same applicable in case of, and this histogen theory, as I told you, given by Henstein. Tunica corpus, he said, except epidermis, epidermis is only periclinal, all other tissues are anticlinal, and this tunica corpus theory was given by Schmidt. SCHIMDT. Right? All this is applicable, but along with this, in the root, there is a structure called as quiescent center. In the complete root, quiescent center is the center which has meristematic nature. A prismatic structure is found, prismatic tissue is found at the root apex region, that is meristematic, which is prismatic in nature. Right? So this is about the evolution, how how shoot apex and root apex have evolved, and different scientists have given contribution. All of them have started from pro-embryo to peri-embryo to modern embryos, whatever you see, and there is no difference between plants and animals, right? So what all things we have done today is meristematic tissue, permanent tissue and complex tissues starting from parenchyma to xylem and phloem. And with this, thanks a lot, and please do watch the hashtag, which has to be, I am sure it will going to give you a goosebumps, man. Much awaited, and definitely you are going to enjoy it. Cherish that moment that you are going to share it in just few minutes from now. So see you soon. Do CPP, do solve the CPP by the time you connect to your hashtag. Till then, take care of your good health. May God bless you all. Shubh Ratri. Shabba Khair.